All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rikakodash. Giving double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to the hopefully elect. Shalom to all the brothers out laboring in this truth with sincerity. Shalom to the few sisters that watch. All right, trying to do this lesson again. Second time. First time, I don't know what happened, man. Just cut off. And it didn't save. So Salakia. It's coming back with another lesson going into U.S.-Iran latest. It says Trump says ceasefire with Iran over, and we're going to hit them hard again tonight. And we see this is updated July 8th, actually 1 minute ago now. You know, before it said like 11:30 or something like that while I was doing the lesson. But, you know, basically, there's going to be strikes tonight. It says, what to know about the Iran war today. It says President Trump said the U.S. would likely launch more strikes against Iran Wednesday night, telling reporters at a NATO summit in Turkey, we hit them very hard last night, and we're going to hit them hard again tonight. It says earlier Wednesday, Mr. Trump said, as far as I'm concerned, it's over. You know, speaking of the ceasefire, it says, when asked about the ceasefire in Iran, after an exchange of strikes by both countries, Mr. Trump called Iran's leaders sick and declared it a waste of time with dealing with them. You know, but, you know, you're trying to regulate what they do. You know, like they don't have a right to defend themselves or a right to protect what they have, you know. And this is stuff I had pulled up. Matter of fact, where is, let's see. I had it pulled up. Let's see, it was, yeah. Trump, you know, this, before, you know, he said, as of June last year, it says Trump takes the deal and claims victory in the Iran war. So, you know, back in June, less than a month ago, they declared victory and as if the war was won already. But now, you know, the war is back on again. So, you know, the war was never won and a deal was never made. You know, as far as I know, Iran never accepted a deal. You know, they actually walked out of the meeting with J.D. Vance. So, you know, it says oil prices soared Wednesday and stocks slumped after Mr. Trump said the ceasefire with Iran is over. So gas about to shoot back up, man. Gas prices about to go back up. So it says the international benchmark, Brent crude jumping almost 8% to trade over $80 a barrel. The main U.S. contract, West Texas Intermediate, was also up over 7% at $75 a barrel. So let's go. You know, I already got stuff pulled up from the last attempt to do this lesson. So let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 55 and verse 21. And it says, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. You know, trying to do a deal, peace talks, you know, all this coming sweet words, you know, pretty much softening you up for the blow. That's what America does, man. You know, more specifically, the Edomites. That's what they do. It says the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. And we see clear evidence of this, you know, with Native American Indians all the way down to Taino Indians, you know, if you want to call them that. so-called Taino Indians. You know, this is what they did, man. Came to the land, came humbly, but at the same time being strategic and running back saying we can make these people good slaves, take all the gold, their women, just basically make them slaves, and then call them savages while we doing it. So it says his words were softer than oil, yet they were drawn swords. Native Americans helped them survive. Help them get through the rough terrain. Showed them the landscape of America, and then yet and still they turn around and kill. Pretty much the whole population, man. So let's see, we can get rid of that. We'll go back to that article, but damn, erased the wrong thing, man. Being too fast. Let's see. All right, yeah, right here. This ain't the one I wanted. Let's see. What is it? We'll get this one. Yeah. So this says this came out yesterday. It says U.S. strike on Iranian school came after commanders bypassed warnings about outdated target info. So, they didn't even pay attention. They goes into their pride, and then they denied it until the intel came out and said that the U.S. did do it. Which it didn't make sense anyway, because they said the Iran bombed their own school. How stupid is that? Why would they do that, man? So it says sources told CNN that warnings were ignored due to expediency. And, I just went and looked that up.
Expediency.
Expediency is the quality of choosing methods that are convenient. They did what was convenient, practical, or advantageous to a specific goal, often at the expense of what is conventionally fair, just, or morally right. And this devil is not ever fair, just, or morally right. It says it prioritizes immediate results and self-interest. That's all the qualities of Esau Edom, man. All the qualities that Esau Edom has, man. Immediate results, self-interest. That's this devil, man. Carnal means. So let's go back. Let's see. It says U.S. military commanders bypassed warnings indicating that their database of strike targets inside Iran was badly out of date shortly before launching a deadly attack on an Iranian primary school in the city of Minab, according to Tuesday's report from CNN. 3 sources told CNN that senior military officials received messages informing them that the intelligence behind the target list had been gathered years ago and needed to be re-vetted. And they ignored it, man. They ignored it. That's the pride of this devil, man. So you think these people not going to be upset about that? Why would they give in to your ceasefire plans? You bombed the school. You killed kids. Those people want revenge, man. They ain't looking for peace. Let's see. We'll go to the book of Sirach. And we're going to hit the GNT. Matter of fact, 12. And we're going to get that. We're going to go into that in the GNT. Let's see what it says. 13 minutes ago, Iran will close Strait of Hormuz in retaliation for any new U.S. strikes, state TV network says Iran will immediately close the Strait of Hormuz to all traffic if the country is attacked again. The state-owned Press TV network said Wednesday, quoting an unnamed regime source. The report said Iran would retaliate for any U.S. strikes by attacking twice as many targets. And I think you got the, what ship is that? You got 2 carriers out there. Is it the, man, I don't want to say wrong, but I think it's like the Abraham Lincoln or something. Yeah, one of them out there. I think that's what they said. Let's see. Iran struck 3 commercial vessels in the Strait this week, leading the U.S. to hit more than 80 Iranian targets, according to the U.S. Central Command. Iran then launched attacks targeting U.S. Gulf allies, Bahrain, and Kuwait. So this is heating up, man. World War III. It is, no matter how many agreements you try to make, you cannot overcome prophecy, man. World War III is prophesied all throughout the Bible. Read the book of Joel, chapter 2, goes into it, man. Book of Revelation, all throughout the books of Revelation. 2 Peter 3, Lord coming as a thief in the night. So World War III is man, that is a main topic all throughout the scriptures, man. But yet and still these people don't believe. But let's see what we want. Oh yeah, we'll go back to we're gonna drop down to verse 16 on this. And this is book of Sirach, chapter 12 in the GNT, verse 16. It says, he will speak fine words while he plots to trap you. And this is going into Psalms chapter 55 and 21, man. This is the same thing. Speaking of Esau, Edom. It says, he will pretend to share your sorrows, but he will kill you if he gets a chance. If trouble comes your way, you will find him waiting, ready to trip you up while he pretends to help you. He will be a different person then, rubbing his hands, nodding his head, and spreading rumors about you, man. This is all Esau Edom. This is what he does all around the world. It don't matter, man. And he did this mainly to the children of Israel, man. That's why the Lord's gotta punish them, man, severely, So let's just go back to this article, just to get a view, So what's to come, man? Gas prices probably shoot back up. Hey, we never know. This might escalate into something we know is irreversible, but it might escalate quickly, man. Let's hope that. So, this was just a quick lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Lord willing, it was edifying. I want to constantly give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahushai, by Hashem Rakakwadash. Shalom.